The world tilted sideways. Nola James felt it happen in slow motion. The backstage chaos of Seoul Fashion Week blurred at the edges. Voices became distant echoes. The corset crushing her ribs wasn't helping, but that wasn't the real problem. The real problem was she hadn't eaten in 3 days. Well, she'd had half an apple yesterday. And black coffee. Lots of black coffee. That counted, right? Her reflection in the floor-length mirror showed exactly what the industry wanted. Hollow cheeks. Collarbones sharp enough to cut glass. Thigh gap visible even in the structural evening gown they'd sewn her into. Perfect. Except the room was spinning. Nola, you're on in 5. The stage manager rushed past, clipboard clutched like a weapon. She nodded. Tried to take a breath. The corset fought back. Her vision went spotty. Just get through this show. 1 foot in front of the other. You've done this 100 times. But her body had other plans. The floor rushed up to meet her. Strong hands caught her before she hit the ground. I've got you. The voice was deep, accented, calm in the chaos. Don't try to stand yet. Nola's eyes struggled to focus. A man's face came into view. Sharp jawline. Dark eyes filled with something that looked like recognition. Concern. And something else she couldn't quite name. Park Hyun-woo. The creative director. The man whose collection she was supposed to be opening. Perfect. Just perfect. I'm fine, she managed, trying to push herself up. Just the corset. Too tight. I can. You can barely hold your head up. His grip on her arms was firm, but surprisingly gentle. When did you last eat? The question hit like a slap. Nobody asked that question. Not in this industry. You didn't talk about eating or not eating. You just showed up thin enough to fit the samples and kept your mouth shut about how you got there. I ate. The lie came automatically. This morning. The corset is just. Don't. 1 word, quiet but absolute. His eyes locked on hers. I know what this looks like. I've seen it before. Something in his tone made her stomach drop. Not anger. Grief. Around them, the backstage chaos continued. Models being dressed, makeup artists making final adjustments, coordinators shouting into headsets. But Hyun-woo created a bubble of stillness around them, his body positioned to shield her from view. Can you stand? He asked. Yes. He helped her up slowly. Her legs shook. She hated that he could feel it. Come with me. Not a question. He guided her away from the main backstage area, down a corridor she didn't know existed, into a private fitting room. Quiet. Removed from the madness. The door closed. Silence. Sit. He pulled out a chair. Nola sat. Her heart hammered. This was it. He was going to drop her from the show. Report her to the agency. She'd be blacklisted in Seoul just like she'd been blacklisted in New York. Instead, he knelt in front of her and started unlacing the corset. What are you? This dress doesn't fit you properly. His fingers worked the laces with practiced precision. Whoever did your fitting should be fired. The structure is fighting your body instead of complementing it. The corset loosened. Air rushed into her lungs. God. It felt like salvation. Better? He asked. Yes. The relief was so intense she almost cried. Thank you. He stood, moving to a rack of garments in the corner. You're opening my show in 15 minutes. You need to breathe. You need to walk without fainting. He pulled out a different dress, examining it critically. This one. The structure is similar, but the construction is completely different. I can do the original, Nola said quickly. I just need a minute. I'm fine. You're not fine. He turned, holding the new dress. His expression was unreadable. And I'm not letting you walk out there like this. You don't understand. I have to. When did you last eat? He asked again. The question hung in the air between them. Nola's hands twisted in her lap. Every instinct screamed to lie, to protect herself, to maintain the fiction that she had everything under control. But something about the way he looked at her, like he already knew the answer, like he'd asked this question before and gotten lies then too, made the truth spill out. 3 days ago. Her voice cracked. Really 8, I've had coffee. And part of an apple yesterday. The silence that followed was devastating. My sister died at 19, Hyunwoo said finally. His voice was steady, but his jaw clenched. Complications from anorexia. The fashion industry convinced her she needed to be smaller, thinner, perfect. By the time I flew home from Paris, she was in the hospital. Organ failure. I held her hand while she died. Nola's breath caught. I'm so sorry. I was working at Fashion Week when it happened. He looked down at the dress in his hands. Designing clothes for bodies that don't exist naturally. Contributing to the same system that killed her. I told myself I'd change things from the inside. Make it better. Safer. A hollow laugh. But here you are. 3 days without food. About to collapse on my runway. It's not your fault, isn't it? His eyes met hers. I'm the creative director. I choose the models. I set the standards. If you're starving yourself to fit my vision, whose fault is that? Mine. Nola stood on shaky legs. This is my choice. My body. My problem. It stops being just your problem when you die. The words were harsh, but his tone was gentle. And you will die, Nola. Maybe not today. Maybe not this year. But if you keep doing this, it will kill you. Just like it killed my sister. Real quick. If you're loving this so far, do me a solid and like this video and please hit the subscribe button. Takes little effort, makes a huge difference. Appreciate you. Now back to the story. Tears burned Nola's eyes. She blinked them back furiously. What do you want me to say? That I'll stop? That I'll eat? You don't understand what it's like. The pressure. The constant scrutiny. 1 pound heavier, and they replace you. 1 bad photo, and you're done. I know. He moved closer. I know the industry is toxic. I know it demands impossible things. But I also know you're killing yourself trying to meet those demands. And I can't watch another woman destroy herself for this. Then drop me from the show. Nola grabbed her bag. Find someone else. Someone who fits your vision without modification. Someone who doesn't complicate things.
No.
No. Hyunwoo set down the dress. I'm making you a deal. Let me redesign this dress for your real body. Not the body you're starving yourself into. Your actual healthy body. In exchange, I won't report this to your agency. Nola's heart stopped. You can't redesign the opening look 15 minutes before the show. Watch me. He was already measuring her with his eyes, that intense designer focus she'd seen in the fittings. But that's only part of the deal. What's the rest? You have to actually eat. Starting tonight. I'll bring you food. We'll do it privately if you want. But you have to eat it. Real food. Not coffee and apple slices. Why would you do that? Because I couldn't save my sister. His voice broke slightly. But maybe I can save you. The vulnerability in that admission cracked something open in Nola's chest. This wasn't just a creative director protecting his show. This was a man carrying grief like a physical weight, trying desperately to make meaning from loss. If anyone finds out, she said slowly, if the agency discovers I'm struggling, they'll drop me. I'll be unhireable. This is career suicide. Then we keep it secret. Hyunwoo picked up the dress again. But those are my terms. Let me help you, or I'm pulling you from the show right now and telling your agency exactly why. It was blackmail. Gentle, well-intentioned blackmail, but blackmail nonetheless. And somehow, standing in that quiet fitting room with a man who'd lost his sister to the same demons eating her alive, Nola felt something she hadn't felt in 2 years.
Hope.
Okay, she whispered.
Deal.
He smiled.
Just barely. Good.
Now let me work. What happened next was magic. Hyunwoo moved like a surgeon, hands swift and certain. He took the new dress, made adjustments she couldn't follow, modified the structure in ways that shouldn't have worked but did. 10 minutes later, he was helping her into it. The fabric settled against her skin like it was made for her. Which it was now, apparently. How does it feel? He asked. Nola took a breath. Deep and full. Perfect. Can you walk? She took a few steps. The dress moved with her, not against her. No restriction. No crushing pressure. Just beautiful, functional design. Yes. Then you're ready. He stepped back, examining her with a critical eye. You look stunning, by the way. Truly stunning. Heat crept up her neck. Thank you, Nola. He caught her wrist gently as she moved toward the door.
Tonight.
After the show, there's a restaurant 3 blocks from here. Private room. I'll have food waiting. Real food. You'll eat at least half of whatever I order. Agreed. Every survival instinct screamed to refuse. To maintain control. To not let anyone see her weakness. But she thought about his sister. 19 years old.
Dead.
Agreed, she said. The show was a triumph. Nola walked that runway with more confidence than she'd felt in months. The dress moved like water. The audience responded with thunderous applause. Critics later called it a stunning opening that set the tone for Park's most ambitious collection yet. Nobody knew she'd been dying backstage 30 minutes earlier. Backstage after, surrounded by congratulations and camera flashes, Nola caught Hyunwoo's eye across the chaos. He nodded once. A reminder.
Tonight. Food.
The deal. Her stomach twisted. Not from hunger. From fear. She showed up anyway. The restaurant was tucked into a quiet street in Gangnam. Traditional exterior, modern interior. The private room Hyunwoo had reserved was all clean lines and soft lighting. Intimate without being romantic. He was already there, still in the black shirt and slacks from the show. He stood when she entered. You came. I keep my promises. Nola slid into the seat across from him. Usually. A slight smile. The food isn't here yet. I ordered a variety. Korean, some Western options. Whatever appeals to you. Very thoughtful. I'm trying. He poured her water. How do you feel? After the show? Accomplished. Terrified. Relieved it's over. She took a sip. Hungry, actually, which is new. That's your body trying to survive. The food arrived in waves. Banchan, grilled fish, japchae, soup, rice. Western options too. Pasta, salad, bread. More food than 2 people could possibly eat. Nola stared at it. Her heart raced. Start with something small, Hyunwoo said quietly. Whatever looks least threatening. She picked up chopsticks. Took a small portion of japchae. The noodles were sweet, savory, perfectly cooked. Hyunwoo ate normally, not watching her, giving her space to navigate this minefield. 1 bite became 2. 2 became 5. Before she knew it, she'd eaten a full portion. Then some fish. Then rice. Good, he said when she finally set down her chopsticks. That's good, Nola. Tears pricked her eyes. I can't remember the last time someone said it was good that I ate. Then you've been around the wrong people. They talked for hours. Hyunwoo told her about his sister, Minji. How she'd been bright and talented and desperate to model. How the agencies had told her to lose weight. Then lose more. Then more again until there was nothing left to lose. I was in Paris, he said, voice rough. Working for one of the major houses. Climbing the ladder. She called me 3 weeks before she died and told me she'd booked her first major campaign. I was so proud. I didn't ask her how she got there. Didn't want to know. You couldn't have known. I should have. His hands clenched around his glass. I worked in the industry. I saw what it did to girls. I just didn't think my sister would become one of them. Nola reached across the table, covering his hand with hers. It's not your fault, isn't it? I'm part of the machine. I design the clothes that only fit impossible bodies. I choose models based on measurements that require starvation to maintain. I perpetuate the exact system that killed her. Then why are you still here? Because my father is dying. The admission came out flat. And he wants me to take over the company. Park Fashion Group. It's one of the largest luxury conglomerates in Korea. Billions in revenue. Thousands of employees. A legacy spanning for decades. That's amazing. It's a prison. Hyunwoo met her eyes. The board wants me to prove I can run it profitably. That means maintaining standards. Using perfect bodies. Not rocking the boat. If I push too hard for change, they'll hand everything to my uncle instead. He's cold, profit-driven, doesn't care about anything except shareholder value. So you're trapped. We both are. His thumb traced circles on her palm. You're starving yourself to book jobs. I'm compromising my values to inherit a company I'm not sure I even want. We're both destroying ourselves for other people's expectations. The truth of that hit hard. Tell me about you, he said. Why did you come to Seoul? Nola hadn't planned to tell him. Hadn't planned to tell anyone. But something about the quiet room and his gentle attention made the story spill out. I was the before picture, she said. In a viral weight loss campaign. The company used my image without consent. Made it look like I'd been obese and miserable. Then transformed into someone worthy of existing. Hyunwoo's expression darkened.
They used you.
They destroyed me. The photo was from when I was 16. I'd been healthy.
Happy.
Athletic. But they photoshopped it to make me look worse. Then put it next to their after model and captioned it from invisible to irresistible. God. It went viral. Millions of shares. I got messages every day telling me I was disgusting. That I should be ashamed. That I needed to lose weight. I was 16 years old, and the entire internet was dissecting my body. Nola. I sued them. Won. But the damage was done. I developed an eating disorder trying to become the after picture everyone said I should be. And American agencies blacklisted me for causing trouble. So I came here. Fresh start. New market. Except I brought the disorder with me. Hyunwoo was quiet for a long moment. Then, you're incredibly brave. She laughed bitterly. I'm dying slowly, and can't stop. That's not brave. You survived something that would have destroyed most people. You rebuilt yourself. You're still fighting. That's the definition of brave. The way he looked at her made something warm bloom in her chest. Something dangerous. We should go, she said, pulling her hand back. It's late. Nola. Thank you for the food.
And for today.
For redesigning the dress.
For not reporting me.
For everything. She stood quickly. I'll see you at the next fitting. She was halfway to the door when he spoke. Tomorrow night. Same place. 8 o'clock. She turned. That wasn't part of the deal. I'm amending the deal. Every night for the next 2 weeks. You eat. I'll be there. Non-negotiable. You can't just. I can. His expression was absolute. Because if I don't, you'll go back to starving yourself the moment you're out of my sight. And I'm not letting that happen. He was right. She knew he was right. Fine, Nola said. But just food. Nothing else. Just food, he agreed. They both knew it was already more than that. The dinners became routine. Every night, Nola showed up at the restaurant. Every night, Hyunwoo was there waiting. And every night, she ate a little more than the night before. They talked about everything. Her childhood in Chicago. His education in Paris and Milan. Her dreams of eventually moving into fashion photography. His secret desire to design sustainable, ethical fashion lines. The board would never approve it, he said one night, picking at his food. They want fast fashion. High turnover. Cheap production. Maximum profit. What do you want? To create something beautiful that doesn't require suffering. He looked at her. Clothes that make people feel good without destroying them first. Then do it. It's not that simple. If I push too hard, I lose everything. The company goes to my uncle. He'll gut everything good about it. Workers' protections. Ethical sourcing. The small designers we support. All gone. So you sacrifice yourself to protect everyone else. Isn't that what you're doing? Sacrificing your health to maintain your career.
Touché.
On the 8th night, something shifted. They were laughing about a disastrous photo shoot he'd had in Milan. Hyunwoo was mid-story, hands gesturing animatedly, when he suddenly stopped. What? Nola asked. You're smiling. Really smiling. I've never seen you do that before. She touched her face, surprised. I guess I am. It's beautiful.
The air changed.
Charged. Nola's breath caught. Hyunwoo. I know. He set down his chopsticks. I know this is complicated. You're a model in my show. I'm your creative director. There's a power imbalance. But I need you to know that these dinners, they're not just about making sure you eat anymore. Then what are they about? You. His voice dropped. Getting to know you. Being near you. Hearing you laugh. You're the first person I've been able to talk to about Minji without feeling like I'm drowning. The first person who understands what it's like to be trapped. We can't, Nola whispered, even as everything in her leaned toward him. This is professional suicide. I know. And you're engaged. That stopped him. You know about that?
Everyone knows about that.
Park Hyunwoo, engaged to Han Ji-woo, merger of two fashion dynasties. It's been in every trade publication for 6 months. His jaw clenched. It's arranged. Business. Does she know that? She knows exactly what it is. A calculated move by our families to consolidate power.
She doesn't love me.
I don't love her. It's a transaction. That doesn't make this okay. You're right. Hyunwoo stood, moved around the table, knelt beside her chair. You're absolutely right. This is messy and complicated and potentially destructive. But I haven't been able to stop thinking about you since the moment you almost fainted in my arms. And I think you feel the same way. Nola's heart hammered. What I feel doesn't matter. You're my boss. You're engaged. I'm your secret project. If anyone finds out, I know the risks.
Do you?
Because I don't think you do. She stood, putting distance between them. If this comes out, I lose everything. Again. I get labeled a homewrecker, a model who slept with the creative director. Every brand I've worked for will drop me. I'll be unemployable. And you'll lose your inheritance. Your father's company. Everything you're trying to protect. I know. Then why are you doing this? Because for the first time in 3 years, I feel alive. Hyunwoo's voice was raw. Since Minji died, I've been going through the motions. Working. Existing. Pretending I care about fashion and legacy and family duty. But with you, I remember what it's like to actually want something. To care about someone beyond obligation. Tears burned Nola's eyes. I can't be the reason you destroy your life. You're not. The life was already destroyed. You're the first thing that's made me want to rebuild it. She should leave. Should run before this consumed them both. Instead, she closed the distance between them. This is a mistake, she whispered. Probably. His hand cupped her face. But I'm tired of making all the right choices and being miserable. When he kissed her, it felt like coming home. They pulled apart, foreheads touching, both breathing hard. What do we do now? Nola asked. Carefully, Hyunwoo said. Very, very carefully. For 3 weeks, they were careful. Late-night fittings in his private atelier, where he measured her body with hands that lingered. Stolen moments on the rooftop of his building, watching the Seoul skyline. Dinners that stretched past midnight in hidden restaurants where nobody knew their names. Nola felt herself healing. Not just physically, though her body was recovering as she ate regularly. Emotionally, the constant anxiety that had defined her existence for 2 years began to ease. Hyunwoo made her feel seen. Not as a body to be photographed or a hanger for clothes. As a person. Complex and damaged, and still worthy of love. You're gaining weight, her mother texted one morning. Nola had made the mistake of posting a photo from a shoot.
Good, she wanted to reply.
That means I'm not dying anymore. Instead, the Seoul market prefers healthier looks. Don't embarrass us again. Nola blocked her mother's number. That night, she told Hyunwoo about it. Good, he said, pulling her close. They were in his apartment, a penthouse in Gangnam that was all windows and minimalist design. You don't need that toxicity. She's my mother. She's the voice that's been killing you. Sometimes cutting people off is an act of survival, not cruelty. He was right. But it still hurt. Stay tonight, Hyunwoo said.
Please.
They'd been dancing around that line for weeks. Kisses and touches, but never crossing into more. Partially because of the engagement. Partially because Nola needed to feel stronger first. But she was stronger now.
And she wanted this.
Wanted him. Okay. What happened next was tender, and slow, and everything she'd needed. Hyunwoo touched her like she was precious, like her body was something to be cherished, not critiqued. When he whispered that she was beautiful, she almost believed him. After lying in his arms, she felt safe for the first time in years. "I'm redesigning the entire collection," he said into the darkness. Nola's head lifted from his chest.
What?
"The spring collection. I've been secretly reworking it. Different sizes, diverse bodies, real women, not just samples that fit one measurement." Hyunwoo, the board. "I don't care about the board." His arms tightened around her. "I've spent 3 years trying to change things quietly, working within the system, being patient, but the system killed my sister. It's killing you. It's killing thousands of girls who think they need to be something impossible. So I'm burning it down. They'll destroy you. Let them. At least I'll have done something that matters." Nola's throat tightened. "When are you presenting it?" "Board meeting in 3 weeks. They're expecting traditional commercial pieces. Instead, they're getting revolution." "What about your uncle?" "The inheritance. If being true to myself means losing the company, then I never really had it anyway." He kissed her forehead. "Besides, I have something more important now." "What?" "You." It should have been romantic. It was romantic. But it was also terrifying because Nola knew how these stories ended. The industry didn't reward rebellion. It crushed it. But for that night, wrapped in Hyunwoo's arms, she let herself believe in possibilities. A text came in at 3 a.m. 3 days later. "Unknown number. We know about you and Hyunwoo. End it now, or everyone finds out." Nola sat up in bed, heart racing. Her apartment suddenly felt exposed. Dangerous. She called Hyunwoo. "Someone knows," she said when he answered. "They just threatened to expose us." "Jiwoo." His voice was cold. "My fiancé. She's been having me followed. What do we do?" "I'll handle it. Don't worry." Hyunwoo. "I'm ending the engagement, Nola. I should have done it weeks ago. I'll talk to her tomorrow. Make it clean." But nothing in their world was clean. The next morning, photos appeared online. Nola and Hyunwoo leaving his apartment building, kissing in his car, entering restaurants together. Dozens of images, professionally shot, undeniably intimate. The headlines were brutal. Park Air and Scandal. Secret affair with model. Fashion dynasty rocked by inappropriate relationship. Creative director's career in jeopardy after model romance exposed. Nola's phone exploded. Her agency calling. Brands pulling out. Interview requests from tabloids. And through it all, one text from her mother. "I told you not to embarrass us." She threw up twice before noon. Hyunwoo arrived at her apartment within an hour. "Pack a bag," he said. "You're staying with me until this blows over." "It's not going to blow over." Nola was shaking. "This is my career. Everything I built. It's gone. Then we'll build something new." "You don't understand." "I understand perfectly." He gripped her shoulders. "They're going to crucify us. The board. The media. Everyone. But we face it together. Okay? Together." The board meeting happened 3 days later. Hyunwoo insisted Nola come with him. "You're part of this now. And I need you there." The conference room was intimidating. 20 board members. His uncle at the head of the table. His father, weak from illness, watching from a video screen. Hyunwoo. His uncle's smile was predatory. "Thank you for joining us. We have much to discuss. Starting with your very public scandal. I'm aware of the situation. You've made this company a laughingstock. A creative director sleeping with one of his models. The power imbalance alone. I'm in love with her." Hyunwoo's voice cut through the room. "And the feeling is mutual. There's no power imbalance. Just two people who found each other in a toxic industry." Murmurs around the table. Nevertheless, his uncle continued, "This behavior is unacceptable. You've damaged our reputation. Betrayed your fiancé. Shown you're unfit to lead this company. Therefore, the board has decided. I'm stepping down." Silence. "What?" His uncle looked genuinely surprised. I'm stepping down as creative director and removing myself from consideration for CEO. Hyunwoo stood. But before I go, I want to present my final collection. The one you've been waiting to see. He pulled out his laptop, projected images onto the screen. The room gasped. The clothes were stunning. But more than that, they were revolutionary. Models of all sizes. Different heights, shapes, colors. Real bodies wearing designs that celebrated them instead of changing them. This is what I wanted to do, Hyunwoo said quietly. Create fashion that makes people feel beautiful as they are, not as they think they should be. My sister died trying to fit into clothes that weren't made for human bodies. I won't contribute to that system anymore. This is commercial suicide, someone said. Maybe. Or maybe it's the future. He looked around the room. The industry is changing. People are demanding better, more inclusive, more ethical. You can evolve with them or die clinging to outdated standards. His father's voice came through the speakers, weak but clear. Show them the numbers, Hyunwoo. More slides. Projections. Market research showing the demand for diverse, inclusive fashion. Profit margins for ethical brands. Success stories of companies that had taken risks and won. The money is there, Hyunwoo said. If you're brave enough to pursue it. His uncle stood. This is everything your father built.
No.
His father's voice again. This is what the industry forced me to build because I was too afraid to stand up. Hyunwoo is braver than I ever was. A pause. The company is his. If the board won't support him, I'll dissolve it before I let you have it. The room erupted. Arguments.
Shouting. Threats.
Through it all, Hyunwoo stood calm. Nola beside him. United. Finally, after hours of debate, a vote. 12 board members supported Hyunwoo's vision. 8 sided with his uncle.
He won. Barely.
You have 1 year, his uncle said coldly. 1 year to prove this diversity nonsense is profitable. If you fail, I take over. No appeals. No second chances. Agreed, Hyunwoo said. They left the building together. Nola's hand in his. You just bet your entire inheritance on inclusive fashion, she said. Are you insane? Probably. He pulled her close. But I'm free. For the first time in my life, I'm actually free. No arranged marriage. No compromise. Just building something I believe in. What if it fails? Then we fail together. He kissed her. And start over. Again. The first 6 months were brutal. Hyunwoo's engagement ended publicly and messily. Jiwoo gave interviews painting herself as the victim. Stocks dipped. Several major buyers refused to carry the new line. Nola's modeling career tanked. Agencies dropped her. Brands that had booked her canceled contracts. The internet called her a homewrecker, a slut, a gold digger. They weathered it together. Hyunwoo launched his inclusive collection with Nola as the campaign face. Not because she was his girlfriend. Because she embodied the message. Real, recovered, refusing to shrink herself anymore. The campaign went viral. Women shared their own stories of eating disorders, of industry pressure, of feeling like they were never enough. The hashtag real bodies real fashion trended for weeks. Sales exceeded projections by 300%. By month 8, other designers were copying the model. Casting calls asking for diverse bodies. Runways featuring sizes beyond 0 and 2. The industry was shifting. Not everywhere. Not fast enough. But shifting. Hyunwoo's father died in month 10. The funeral was massive. Industry leaders from around the world. Press everywhere. Hyunwoo gave a speech about legacy and tradition. He gave a speech about change and hope, and his sister Minji, who should have lived to see this moment. Nola stood beside him.
Supporting him.
Loving him through the grief. After the funeral, in the quiet of his apartment, he broke down. I wish he'd lived long enough to see it work, he sobbed into her shoulder. To know that we actually changed things. He knew, Nola whispered.
He believed in you.
That's why he gave you the company. I miss her. I miss Minji. She would have loved this. Would have walked in the show. Would have been so proud. She is proud, wherever she is. You honored her memory. You made sure her death meant something. They held each other and grieved together for all the losses they'd both survived. Month 12 arrived. The final board meeting. Profit reports. Sales figures. Market analysis. Hyunwoo's inclusive line had outperformed every projection. Not just profitable, wildly successful. His uncle sat silent as the numbers were presented. It appears, the CFO said, that Park Fashion Group has had its most profitable year in a decade, largely due to creative director Park's new direction. Hyunwoo didn't gloat, just nodded. I suppose, his uncle said finally, I was wrong. About the market.
About you.
About what sells. It wasn't quite an apology, but it was acknowledgement. Enough. The board voted unanimously to continue the new direction, to expand it across all lines, to make diversity and inclusion company policy, not just a single collection. Walking out of that building, Hyunwoo pulled Nola into his arms right there on the street.
We did it, he said.
Against every odd, every prediction. We actually did it. You did it. Nola kissed him. I just supported you.
You did more than that.
You were my reason. My reminder of why this mattered. Every time I wanted to give up, I thought about you starving yourself to fit someone else's standards. And I couldn't accept that world anymore. So, we burned it down together. And built something better. 1 year later, they stood in a different venue. Not a fashion show. A wedding. Small ceremony. Close friends and family. Maya flew in from Chicago. Hyunwoo's brothers and their families. Models from the campaign who'd become friends. Nola wore a dress Hyunwoo designed specifically for her. No corset. Just beautiful, flowing fabric that celebrated her healthy body instead of fighting it. When they exchanged vows, she thought about that first night. Backstage at Fashion Week. Fainting. Dying slowly, and not knowing how to stop. I can breathe with you, she told him. For the first time in my life, I can actually breathe. You're my oxygen, he replied. My reason for everything. They kissed as husband and wife. The room erupted in applause. Later, at the reception, Maya cornered Nola. Look at you, she said, tears in her eyes. Healthy.
Happy.
Glowing. I never thought I'd see you like this again. I never thought I'd feel like this again. Nola watched Hyunwoo across the room, laughing with his brothers. He saved my life. You saved each other. Maya hugged her tight. That's what love does. Hyunwoo's company continued to thrive. The inclusive line expanded globally. Other fashion houses followed suit, some genuine, some performative, but the industry was changing.
Slowly.
Imperfectly. But changing. Nola transitioned into fashion photography, working with Hyunwoo's campaigns. Shooting real bodies. Real stories. Making sure other women saw themselves represented. She still had hard days. Moments when the disordered thoughts crept back. But she had support now. Therapy. Hyunwoo. A network of people who understood. Recovery wasn't linear. But it was possible. 3 years after that first fashion week, Hyunwoo held his spring show in Seoul. The finale piece walked down the runway on a model who looked like his sister. Same height. Same build. Healthy and strong and absolutely stunning. Backstage, Hyunwoo had tears in his eyes. She would have been so proud, Nola said, holding his hand. She would have been walking in it. His voice cracked. If the industry had been different. If I'd been braver sooner. You were brave when it mattered. You changed things so other girls like Minji have a chance. Because of you. Because you showed me what was at stake. The show ended to a standing ovation. That night, back in their apartment, Hyunwoo pulled out a sketchbook. I want to show you something, he said. Pages and pages of designs. Not fashion. Architecture. Remember how I told you I wanted to be an architect? Design buildings. You still think about it? Every day. He showed her a particular sketch. A community center. Beautiful, sustainable, designed for gathering. I'm thinking about starting a foundation. In Minji's name. building spaces where young people can access mental health resources, eating disorder support, safe places to heal. Nola's chest tightened. That's perfect. Will you help me? Design the programs. You understand what they need in ways I never could. Yes. No hesitation. Absolutely yes.
So they built that too.
Park Min-ji Foundation opened 2 years later. Centers in Seoul, then Busan, then Tokyo, eventually expanding to major cities worldwide. Free counseling, support groups, education programs for parents and industry professionals, saving lives, honoring a girl who'd lost hers. On the 5th anniversary of that first fashion week, Nola stood in front of a photography exhibit. Her work, portraits of models, before and after recovery, not weight-based, emotional, eyes that had been dead coming back to life. The centerpiece was a self-portrait. Nola at Fashion Week 5 years ago, hollow and dying. Nola now healthy and whole. The caption, "I can breathe now." Hyunwoo wrapped his arms around her from behind. "Proud of you," he whispered. "Couldn't have done it without you. We saved each other." He turned her to face him. "That's what we do. What we'll always do." She kissed him. There, in the gallery surrounded by images of survival and hope. Two people from different worlds. Both trapped by circumstances beyond their control. Both dying in different ways. Finding each other in a moment of crisis. Choosing each other despite impossible odds. Building a love that didn't just survive. It healed. It transformed. It saved lives beyond their own. "I love you," Nola said. "I love you too. Always." They stood together, breathing freely, finally free. Outside, Seoul hummed with life. Fashion Week was happening somewhere in the city. New designers launching collections. Models walking runways. But the standards were different now. The expectations had shifted. Because two people had been brave enough to say no to a system that was killing them, and yes to something better. Love that demanded truth instead of perfection. Fashion that celebrated bodies instead of destroying them. A future where breathing freely wasn't a luxury. It was a right. If you enjoyed this story, please do me a quick favor by liking this video, subscribe, and share. Please rate this story on a scale of 1 to 10. Thank you for your support and enjoy your holiday.